rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Chut, everyone. Welcome back to Rebel Force Radio. Let me tell you, if you are a fan and excited about what's coming up on Disney Plus as it relates to Star Wars, we're talking about Kenobi, we're talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the Cassian Andor series. Look no further than this week's show because it is jam-packed full of news and interviews, tidbits, all kinds of exciting things pertaining to all of that. And we're excited to break it all down for you. That's right. We've got more exclusive picks from the set of Pilgrim, and I'm using air quotes here for those watching the video of this week's show, of Pilgrim, a.k.a. the Kenobi series. More exclusive picks from our spy, Agent Kitster. We'll be talking about those. Also, Rebel Force Radio favorite Liam Neeson dropped by Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to have some highlights from that. Plus, wow, a tale of two Star Wars stars, Ewan McGregor, Pedro Pascal, actors on actors, courtesy of Variety. That's coming up. Also, Stellan Starsguard, great actor, talking about his turn on the Cassian Andor series. We got news about Ben Mendelsohn showing up. It's just incredible. It's incredible. And the guy that we all have to thank for this bevy of Star Wars news is, of course, none other than my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Well, I don't know if I could take all the thanks. It's just I'm the collector. I'm the one who gathers the stories. I'm the hunter-gatherer. You're the one who handles the nesting back at the RFR studio, and I'm out risking my life.
Wait a minute. So you're gathering. What is that? What that makes me? What am I'm back just like cooking up the meal with the stuff that you're out there hunter gathering. I guess that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, that's a very important job for you, Jason, and you do a damn fine job at it.
Well,
but I'm not here to break down that hierarchy. I'm here to talk about Star Wars.
That's right.
And I know, seriously, I mean, this is just a bunch of stuff we find around and we put together and put our own spin on it. And that's why you guys tune into RFR every week, is to hear our take on Star Wars and what's happening in Star Wars news. We got tons of great interview highlights. We're even going to pull the curtain back on some Rebel Force Radio trivia. So that'll be coming up later in the show in listener feedback. And we have all kind of fun things.
It's very meta as Jimmy Mack takes his own work into the RFR Sound Lab and deconstructs it.
That's it. I was just thinking that. The circle really is complete.
Yeah.
When it comes down to that. Now I'm taking my own work into the Sound Lab and taking it apart. We'll be doing that later and so much more. But there's a lot to talk about in news, Jason. Yes. You said the picks from Pilgrim are from Kenobi, and that's what our RFR top secret agent spy has been leading us to believe. But there's some... I don't know. There's been a little pushback against that. We've heard from people who actually have direct sources working on some Star Wars programming, and they gave us some information. And we have a few more new pictures. So let's jump into news headlines and take a look at them.
Let's do it.
I have good news for you, my lord.
That's good news. Come closer, I have good news.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, as Jimmy Mack said, intrepid RFR spy Agent Kitster returns once more with some new picks. Now, Jim, I wasn't aware. Do we have people that are calling out the legitimacy of these photos, or are they calling out whether or not it's actually Kenobi and perhaps another series? Because there was some talk that maybe this is something that we're something from the Cassian Andor series as opposed to Kenobi.
That's what we're beginning to believe, because there's been conflicting reports about this code name for the production, Pilgrim. Now, Agent Kitster believes Pilgrim is the third episode of Kenobi. Pilgrim, okay? And it's been reported in some places that is indeed the code name for Kenobi. But we have a friend with a contact who's working on Andor, and he's confirmed that Pilgrim is the code name for the production of Andor. Not Kenobi, Andor. So I just reached out to Agent Kitster and said, is your friend working out of LA or England? Because I know the production for Kenobi is taking place in LA. It's obvious. It's taking place in LA. It's been, Ewan McGregor has said it himself. He's been spotted in LA. There have been photos of him online wearing the black cover-up robe with a hood so we can't see his wardrobe. But then you could see, part of his leg. Looks like a Jedi leg.
Right.
A Jedi boot.
Right. He's got the boot on.
There's a Jedi boot on a Jedi leg. And it also looks like maybe the undershirt. You can see part of that tunic. That's a Jedi tunic. And we actually have more on Kenobi coming up later. But I said, is your friend working out of LA or England? And I got the response from Agent Kitster that said he was working in Perth in Scotland when I got the photos, but now he's in England for Indy. So his contact was in Perth in Scotland, but it doesn't say if he was working there. But now he's definitely in England working on Indy. So
As
I
in
think
Indiana Jones 5.
Yes, which also started shooting last week.
Right.
There's all kind of great pictures of Harrison Ford in the classic Indiana Jones wardrobe. And people are spotting, there's dots on his face, which indicates that they'll be using technology to de-age him, is what a lot of people are guessing. Maybe. Or maybe he could just have big tentacles hanging off of his face.
What, he's going to be
Long
Captain
John
Barbosa?
Silver.
Or something like that. Just let Harrison be Harrison. The guy's 80. He looks better than most 50-year-olds, so just let him be. That's what I say. Let the character be 80. Let Harrison be 80.
Harrison's not quite yet 80. He's like 78, I think. Yeah. But I think when you get up to that age, if you can be de-aged in any way, shape, or form, sign me up. That's what I'll be saying. Sign me up for de-aging. Let's do some Fountain of Youth business here, celluloid style. And that's what they're going to be doing with Indiana Jones, it looks like. There's even a rumor that Tote is back from the original Raiders. Tote.
Or perhaps a relative of Tote. We don't.
Son of Tote.
Tote the Elder. Not Tote the Elder. Tote the...
Lesser.
That's right. Well, there was Poggle the Lesser, so there can be Tote the Lesser.
Poggle the Greater. So there's a Tote the Greater and Tote the Lesser. I always love that guy. He's great. But so Indiana Jones is in the mix. Then somebody said, hey, some of those pictures, what if it's for the new Willow movie or streaming series, the new Willow streaming series? But I don't believe that started shooting yet. So
no, Willow has not shot yet.
I think they're crew members working on these various productions, and they don't even know what they're working on. Really.
I was just going to suggest that there's so much going on, and we've been hearing that the crews could rotate throughout these different productions to keep it efficient and cost effective and all of that. It's very, very possible that. It's kind of like the band that needs the name of the city that they're on the tape behind the curtain, and hello, Cleveland. And they're not in Cleveland, hello, Kenobi. They're on the set of Cassian Andor.
Yeah, but the band doesn't have to deal with code names for the production.
Well, that's true too, right?
So, these code names are in place, I think, partially to fool the crew. That's what, we all think the crew is all on the inside, and those code names are to fool us on the outside, us fans and media or whatever.
Yeah.
Nosy people.
Right. So Agent Kitster has been saying that Pilgrim is code name for the third episode or the third chapter of the Kenobi series.
He specifically says chapter 3.
Chapter 3 Pilgrim or chapter 3 of Pilgrim?
Chapter 3 Pilgrim, chapter 3. Oh, so yeah, that's right. I think he's just saying it's the third episode. But we couldn't decipher if he was saying the name of the episode or the name
of the series, right? Code name of the series. And this goes way back to the days of Blue Harvest, which was the code name for Return of the Jedi. I don't know. I don't think Empire had a cool code name. I don't think they needed it then.
Just like Star Wars 2, I think.
Yeah, Star Wars 2. That's exactly
known
right.
As,
which wasn't really all that obtuse. Pretty obvious what it was.
And the knowledge of that obviously leaked out everywhere, even to the point where there were news crews and helicopters flying over the production in Norway. So that's when I think they decided, well, we have to come up with a fake name for the next production.
Right.
Blue Harvest, anyone? Horror Beyond Imagination? Oh, I like it. I would go see that movie, actually.
Someone's got to do it.
I love the title. It just sounded great.
Someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. They've incorporated that Blue Harvest title in everything from comic books to novels. And there was a Red Harvest novel that was a horror book.
It's cliche now, actually. It's kind of like...
A little bit.
It's a trap.
A little bit. I have a Rancho Obi-Wan t-shirt that is inspired by the Blue Harvest shirts, and I love that one. That's
the logo lockup.
Yeah. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. So Agent Kitster, he sent us some photos. Do you want to take a look at some of them?
Let's do that. Let's do that. So these are the photos. Now, some of these may be repeats from things that we saw last week, so we'll cut through those. But
the ones from last week, they definitely did not have Star Wars vibes for me. The ones he sent this week totally have Star Wars vibes. As you can see, this is a piece of wardrobe hanging from a heavy-duty hanger. Right. And it appears to be that of an Imperial tank officer or AT-AT driver.
Well, this is generally what you see the vehicle commanders, they're still sort of wearing an officer's uniform, but they throw on top of it that chest armor. So they're not, fully trooped out. This is sort of like that hybrid look that you see.
Yes.
Yeah, like
like what General Veers wore in the
Yes, exactly. I was just thinking General Veers. Here's another shot, I believe, of the same piece or of a similar piece. I think this is the back.
It looks like it's the back, and it also looks like we can see what is a holster with a belt hanging from the side. That looks like a holster to me. And as we did last week, we'll put these up on YouTube so everyone could see them. Here's another picture of a campsite, campfire. Looks like they're all just, sitting around maybe on those logs, two people sitting there across from each other on a campfire. Nothing exotic or otherworldly about this.
No, but you know what? When I think about, and I'm not trying to make a claim that this is for Kenobi, but when I was looking at this within the context of it being from the Kenobi series, it's not a stretch for me to think of soon to be old Ben, on a mission, laying low, living off the land. I guess I'm having flashbacks of his cameo on Rebels when he was sitting around the campfire with Ezra before his final confrontation with Darth Maul. So there's something ringing true to me. I'm also getting flashbacks of the Ewok village and that sort of, Endor type scene. So not exactly, I get what you're saying. It doesn't hit you over the head. Star Wars, this could be anything. If you didn't know this was from Star Wars, hell, this could be Lord of the Rings. Who knows what this could be. But when I'm thinking about Star Wars and looking at this photo, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I see it.
Mm-hmm. You could picture some Star Wars heavy discussion going on. Remember, there was a campfire. There was a campfire scene in The Mandalorian with Grief Karga. That's when he came under attack by those flying lizards, and Baby Yoda saved him. That was during the campfire.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And in Solo, there was a campfire scene right before they did the train raid, the heist. They were sitting around at the campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we've seen campfires before in Star Wars. Oh, here's another look at that hut with, it looks like it's made out of tree branches, primitive in nature, more branches acting as half walls from the top to midway down.
So this could, be some sort of agrarian culture, or it's makeshift structures for trying to stay under the radar, laying low on some sort of maybe covert mission, I guess.
Or I just think they find their way to some primitive village somewhere. And that's what's going down here. Oh, there's that orange bridge again. Yeah. We saw that last week. Yeah. Big whoop. Another look at the hut, the tree branch hut with a wheelbarrow. I think we saw this one last week.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. I'm missing. Oh, here's the one.
Yeah, we're missing the great one. There's one great.
Here
there it is. Wow.
Yeah.
Now we're talking Star Wars.
Yes.
What we have here is what looks to be a sheet of reference used by the wardrobe department. Jackpot.
Yes.
So there are 6 different pieces of wardrobe on this little rundown here.
All with the same actor, notice, which is
I think it's just like a generic model, maybe.
Okay.
Or it is the same actor. It's a guy named Dr. Quadpaw. Dr. Quadpaw. Who is this?
So there's only one photo that references what would be a character name, and then the other photos are of the same actor, identified as perhaps Dr. Quadpaw, but with different looks. Right. There's a set of photos that's called uniform. And this is exactly what we were describing earlier, what we saw on the hangar. So you've got more of a sort of an officer's uniform in the one look. And then in the next, he's wearing his officer's cap with that chest and back armor. And then there is trekking, which has sort of a Bedouin, robe-ish kind of look, like a earthy colored robe with a sash or a belt. There seems to be like a fuzzy collar also, and then some sort of a hat. So something that you might expect to kind of protect you from the elements. It looks very Middle Eastern. It looks like something you would wear through the desert to me. And that's called trekking. And then there's 2 photos of again this model or this actor. They're titled At the Camp. So 2 different looks for perhaps the campsite folks. Similar but different. Again, very earth tones. So I'm thinking very Endor Rebel Soldier kind of look to me, with sort of the baggy khaki pants with the high boots. In one instance, there looks to be like a longer coat, like a long jacket, with kind of a typical Star Warsy sort of half button down shirt, and then the other is the same actor but with kind of a vest, and a long sleeve shirt, sleeves kind of rolled up, and then a belt on the outside. So all these look this is undoubtedly something Star Wars. We can't say what, but something Star Wars.
I'm thinking it's Kenobi.
Yeah.
And also, I think, because have you seen those pictures of Ewan wearing the black robes? Look at the camp, both of them. That could be actual wardrobe for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because if you look at that picture of him in the black cloak, it almost looks like he's wearing similar leg wear and similar boots to what we're seeing at the camp.
Some of these photos, I've got these up now. Now, what they're doing with the actors on the set is, and I feel like I've seen this before with was it episode 3 or episode 2? I have this memory of Hayden Christensen wearing some kind of covering up his costume. But here's Ewan McGregor. He's actually wearing a sort of a mask, what you would for COVID, that kind of thing. But yeah, he's covered in sort of like a plastic, almost disposable looking, what would you call that? Like you'd wear in the rain, like a slicker or a...
It's like one of those things people used to wear when they'd sit on their couch and watch TV. I forget what they were called. But look,
not a Snuggie.
Okay. Snuggie, yeah.
No, it's not a Snuggie.
These things they look real cumbersome too. They don't fit any of, Ewan right at all. This
is one size fits all kind of thing.
Yeah, he's struggling to keep it on. It's like it has no buttons or zippers. It has not even Velcro. And he's outside. He's walking around. His wardrobe's hanging out all over the place. Yeah. But go back to where we can see his pant leg, and let's compare that to at the camp, because I think we're looking at the same wardrobe.
All right, let me see if I can zoom in here.
It definitely looks similar to me.
So yeah, we've got the brown pants going into the brown boot. Now, if we flip back over,
can we assume that that's Jedi gear, or is it something to wear at the camp?
I think it's undercover gear to me. I don't think he's going to be running around in those robes. Now, we don't see those brown
it looks
pants.
more like Dr. Quadpaw, actually. Maybe Dr. Quadpaw is a code name for Ben Kenobi. Maybe he uses it as an alias, or maybe it's just something that's used on reference material like this.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be
with
something?
The code name.
Yeah, imagine if these were all different looks
for Ben,
for Kenobi.
See, that's what I'm leaning toward.
So at some point, can you imagine Obi-Wan dressed up as an Imperial officer at one point, and then there's one. Yeah, so that could be what we're looking at, Jim, because Trekking certainly has Jedi robe vibes, and then he's at the camp with perhaps some locals or people that are on this mission with him. He's blending in. Again, he could be dressed up as an Imperial officer of some sort. Quite possible that there's a code name for the character.
Yeah. So this is really interesting stuff. Agent Kitster really came through for us this time and gave us some interesting wardrobe material from I believe from Kenobi, or it could be Andor, because it is. Remember, the two series are happening in a similar place on the Star Wars timeline. So there might be a lot of aesthetic similarities between the two series. Even though Andor is being shot in the UK and Kenobi is being shot here. Now, that doesn't mean that reference material to Kenobi isn't ending up in Scotland or England. That could very well be true, with crews working on the shows, probably internationally that way. Yeah. So great stuff, Agent Kitster. Thanks a lot, buddy. And thank you to our crew member. Moving on to Indy now. If you want to send us some pictures from that'd be kind of cool too.
Well, sure, we'll do it. Why not? It's a Lucasfilm project, and certainly a cousin to the Star Wars saga.
By far.
All right, so Rebel Force Radio favorite Liam Neeson, Star Wars alum, of course, Qui-Gon Jinn, stopping by the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Anytime Liam shows up on anything, we love it. We got to share it. But Jim, wherever Liam Neeson goes, inevitably comes the question.
Yes.
Star Wars. Yes. Would you ever go back? Would you ever see yourself going back? And with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series in production, we all know that his Jedi Master was Qui-Gon Jinn. Why not? Flashback, Force Ghost, the possibilities are there for a Liam Neeson role reprisal as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, and Kimmel's a big Star Wars fan. We know this. He's one of us. One of us. One of us. And Liam Neeson was a guest on his show recently, and he's on the circuit promoting this new film of his, The Ice Road, The ice road. Oh, yeah. And the possibility of...
It's ice. It's very dangerous. Very
Oh,
dangerous.
yeah, sure, you know. You got the ice, you got a road. Put them together, and it will be action. So Ice Road. And then Kimmel asked him, because Kimmel's a fan, and he's also got a set of cojones on him, and he flat out asks Liam Neeson about the possibility of him showing up in a Star Wars show like the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I wonder if you have any like Star Wars TV shows up your sleeve, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is in progress right now, and I'm wondering if you're going to be on that.
Yes, I heard Ewan McGregor was going to do a series. No, I don't think so. No, I haven't been approached. They don't have enough.
The thing about it is, you said you have or you haven't been approached about it?
I haven't been approached.
I see. Interesting. Because the thing is that, I mean, you're such a good actor, you could easily be lying and we would have no idea.
What does he say there? He says they don't have enough, like they can't afford me.
They don't have enough. I love that. Liam's going to start negotiating now on the Jimmy Kimmel show, just in case they're thinking of calling him, because he knows the possibility is there.
Right.
I lean a little more toward Kimmel, where I believe that Liam's being a good actor. But you never know. I mean, these aren't things that we can necessarily assume or take for granted it's going to happen. But, and of course, Liam is his typical bemused self, you know, when the subject comes up. He's never really in the loop, you know. He's always like, oh, yeah, sure, you know, I heard something somewhere, like a little bird told me or something that Ewan is doing a series for the thing, you know. But no, I have not been approached. It would cost them a fortune, a bloody fortune. I want to break the bloody bank, you know. Star Wars is just a big old teat we suck upon, you know. And Liam wants his share.
Oh, now when he starts referring to himself in third person, man, that's, you know, he's gone off the rails.
Oh, yeah, sure, you know. Liam needs better representation, you know. Hey, Swank. Yeah, Swank, you can represent me, you know.
Oh, I could get you big money, because you know what? Here's the fact: they want Qui-Gon Jinn, they want Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Master. Where else are they going to go? You're still around. They're not going to accept a recast. They're not going to accept, you know, some sort of a CGI recreation of you. Why would they need that?
No, they don't need it. They come to me, Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
One-stop shopping. You want Qui-Gon? There's only one place to go, and it'll cost you. I'm telling you, Swank, you got to go tell those cheap bastards at Lucasfilm to cough up the cash, because you know my motto, Swank. No per diem, no Liam. Yeah, sure, you know. Swank, you little bastard, you know. Neeson out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course. I mean, Liam Neeson, he is not going to suffer fools or cheap bastards. They know where to find him. That's basically what he was saying. That's basically what he was saying on Kimmel is, hey, they want me, they know where to find me. I don't think they can afford me.
Oh, now they got to go to Swank.
Yeah, look out for that.
I'll be calling you, you little bastard. Yeah. Yeah. You know I will.
All right, so we'll see.
No Liam.
I like to think that I think it's nuts to think that we won't see if this is going to be a big prequel Kenobi love fest. I think it's crazy to think that we won't get a Qui-Gon. I mean, if he came back for Clone Wars, he's going to come back for the live action Kenobi. Here's the thing. They could get that done in, 2 hours. They don't need to notify him by now. Maybe he hasn't heard anything by now. Or maybe he has. Maybe Kimball's right. Maybe he's just being a good actor.
Good actor, yeah.
I don't
He's done this countless numbers of times where it's just, how'd I end up here? I'm on Star Wars again. Oh, wow. Yeah, sure.
Well, he's a little snake bitten. You know, he was going to do that whole ghost Qui-Gon ghost thing, and he had that motorcycle accident, and all they were able to do was get some voiceover on him.
Yeah.
for episode 3.
I don't even think they got the voiceover on him.
He didn't record anything new, but I thought that there was in that cut scene with Yoda. Don't you hear Qui-Gon at some point?
It's been a while since I've watched those, but I don't believe so.
So you never hear anything, not even a
no. I can't confirm.
Anakin.
I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, I can't recall either. I just know that he stops meditating and he's like,
maybe they didn't cough up the. Yeah, that's good. It must be something like seasonal because my Yoda has been exceptional lately. My Yoda voice. Yeah, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not inspired right now.
I think it's the right mix of bourbon and cigars for me.
I was going more with, pollen and dew count and things like that. But yeah, bourbon and cigars, that works too. That does wonders, quite honestly. Some of the top voiceover guys in the world use that method exactly. Trust me, I know.
All right, well, if that wasn't enough, let's switch gears. So this is very cool. Ewan McGregor and Pedro Pascal both about to headline big series under the Star Wars banner for Disney Plus, brought together by Variety for this segment they call, or this video series, Actors on Actors. And Jim, this is the first time hearing about it, but very cool that you get both Ewan and Pedro Pascal. And I got to say, I mentioned this, I believe, on RFR, maybe it was Bad Batch After Show, about revisiting Rogue One recently. And the more it is one of those films where the more I watch it, the better it gets. And I keep enjoying it more and more. And those characters become more and more interesting to me. Everybody from, Chirrut and Baze and K2SO and of course, Cassian Andor. I just want to see more of these characters. And so I'm getting more and more excited about the Cassian series and seeing more of Pedro Pascal for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. And I think there's a lot of potential with those characters. And, a lot of characters from the film are being rumored to show up in the movie. And we'll get into that after we listen to some highlights of Ewan McGregor and Pedro Pascal. Actors on Actors. It's a Variety video series. This is a good one. This is kind of juicy stuff here for as much that can be revealed about Mando Season 3. But Pedro Pascal is asked directly by Ewan about Season 3. Specifically, are they shooting it? And Pedro, in my opinion, gives kind of a surprising answer.
Are you doing a third season? Have you shot a third season, or are you doing it now?
We haven't shot a third season. So confidentially,
are you allowed?
No, maybe I shouldn't.
Oh no, maybe.
So anyway, let me tell you what's going on.
No, I know better than anyone.
Say it.
For years, I've had to not tell people about the Star Wars. But it's so secretive.
So they are. We're going to be doing a season 3.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, because there was why I think Ewan reacted the way he did is because I think that Pedro's hemming and hawing about Season 3 of The Mandalorian, also with his hesitation to reveal something, because he said confidentially, forgetting he's doing this call for Variety.
A live stream.
Yeah, he just happens to be shooting the crap with Ewan McGregor. Just another day in Pedro Pascal's life. No big deal. Yeah, he's about to reveal something to him. Confidentially. Now, here's the thing. We had heard in December, Jon Favreau was on Good Morning America, and he revealed the Book of Boba Fett will kick off Christmas. And followed immediately by The Mandalorian.
The next show coming up, Kathy said the next chapter, and that's going to be the Book of Boba Fett. And then we go into production right after that on Season 3 of The Mandalorian.
I think those plans have changed. And I think Pedro Pascal has almost confirmed that there's a production delay with The Mandalorian Season 3. They'll work through whatever they have to work through. There's something they have to work through. But there is a production delay.
All right.
And we will not be getting it in the first quarter or first half of 2022, as we have speculated. It might not even show up until 2023 if there is a legitimate delay.
Or it could resume its normal release sometime in the late fall of 2022.
Sure. That could be. 2-year gap between seasons with the Boba Fett dropping.
In between, they did that with The Sopranos. The Sopranos went a span, I believe, at one point, almost 2 years.
Oh, yes.
In between. I think they were renegotiating contracts, I think is what that was about.
I mean, for my God, Curb Your Enthusiasm. They take 6-7 years off between seasons.
Well, I guess that would qualify as sort of a revival that, they did that, and they did it for Arrested Development and some other shows that sort of were brought back. But like Mad Men, there was one, I think, almost 1.5 year gap. I know Sopranos had a really long gap. This happens now. I don't think that we're necessarily saying that there is a problem. When you say a delay, a problem with Mandalorian, it could be that these other series that they have in production perhaps has pushed production of Mando season 3 further out. So it's just maybe the whole factory, the lineup of these shows in the factory, perhaps.
Yeah. Lucasfilm isn't accustomed to this kind of volume. For years and years under George Lucas, they would just have one project in production, if anything at all. Mm-hmm. And now they have multiple films in development, multiple series, either ongoing or in development. So, yeah, maybe resources are being stretched a little thin. But I think the last thing you want to put a delay to the schedule is with The Mandalorian, because it's so popular.
It's so popular. And, popular culture tends to shift, and it's very fickle. You want to strike when the iron's hot, and there was no hotter iron than the way Mando season 2 went out with the return of Luke Skywalker, Baby Yoda heading off to look, there he is, Baby Yoda heading off to the heading off to Luke's Jedi training academy, what have you. So I mean, if there was ever a moment where we needed a definitive return date or something for Mandalorian, it was after season 2. It went out on such a high note. I got to be honest with you. I'm excited about Book of Boba Fett. I'm excited about Cassian. I'm excited about Kenobi. But I don't know if you're saying this, Jim, but if you are, I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of a miscalculation. I think shelving Mando to make room for 3 new series, I think it's a mistake. I'll be honest. I think it's a mistake. As much as I want to see those other series, I think that we need to see season 3 of Mandalorian before we necessarily need to see Cassian, Andor, and Kenobi perhaps debut in the same year. I really do.
Yeah. Your real wild card is Andor. Mm-hmm. And because the Kenobi thing obviously has been in development for years and years and years. It was supposed to be a film.
Right.
But
at one time, a trilogy of films. Oh, there was
maybe that was rumored. But Andor, that seems kind of like the new kid on the block. And also the one that was put into production immediately. We have more info on Andor coming up too. A lot of interesting things coming to the surface this week regarding a variety of Star Wars projects in production right now. So we'll have more on that in just a few. But Mando season 3 might not be coming as soon as we think.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
Yeah, and
that's how I'm reading between the lines.
And I really do. I really think that's a mistake. I think that I don't think that the appetite's ever going to die for Mando, but it was building, and the general awareness of the series and the popularity of Baby Yoda, it's going to be difficult, I think, to resuscitate that, especially when you're distracted as a fan by hours and hours of other Star Wars series. I think that focusing people's attention in a strategic way is a better play here. Again, not saying I don't want to see these shows. I'm excited, but there's time. But Mando has earned its place to be, I think, delivered and produced on a consistent level, or on a consistent pace for fans. I'm invested in the characters, It also helps the pipeline of merchandise and products and tie-in and all that stuff so that it all creates synergy together.
Great thoughts across the board, Jason. Let's hear more from Ewan and Pedro. One thing the two actors share in common is that they both worked with puppets. Ewan worked with Yoda, and Pedro worked with Baby Yoda. So they start comparing notes, and Ewan starts thinking about the time when Yoda shifted from practical puppet to CGI for the final two films in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and he found himself feeling a little empty without having Yoda on the set. And that leads Pedro to tell an interesting story about that moment at the end of season 2 when Luke Skywalker walked away with Baby Yoda. Ooh. And that's why I pulled this clip, is because he gives some cool insight into what was going on in his head while he was shooting that sequence, and why the puppet was so important to make that sequence come across as legitimately emotional.
We know Yoda as a puppet. We know him from the original 3 movies as a puppet. So when it was suddenly computer generated, it didn't feel like Yoda to me anymore, It's interesting that they went back to using an actual puppet with your series, because they
it's interesting, and there's something that's so kind of like the way that it worked on so many levels, in the way that we had to end the second season with this this sort of tearful goodbye, and to not have had the puppet for that, and also the knowledge of its reception by from the world, and how everyone felt about this its creation, its relationship to the history of Star Wars, and whatever it does provoke in everybody. It was one of the more strange kind of acting experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah, so needing that tactile experience as an actor to hold on to a physical manifestation of Baby. I mean, so good that he was able to sort of create a relationship as an actor to the puppet that led to having this great moment. Had it been CGI, had he only been holding some kind of a green cloth, dummy of some sort, it wouldn't have come across. And Ewan McGregor has consistently, going back to episode 1, consistently talked about his struggles as an actor with an over reliance on computer generated effects and things like that, and how it does limit your range, I think, as an actor on set when you're it's all made up in your head.
Yeah, Ewan does talk a little bit about that during this conversation, but I figured we've heard him say a lot of stuff like that in the past.
Right.
It wasn't exactly newsworthy, but I do recommend going back and taking a look at this entire interview, because there's almost like a brotherhood between the two of them, because they've both starred in Star Wars productions. And especially with Ewan now currently involved, they talk about the volume and things like that. They also talk about Train Spotting and Halston. Of course, that's why we're seeing Ewan out there so much lately, is because he's promoting Halston, and also he's in LA now, which I believe he has a residence there, but I don't know if he lives there permanently.
No, I think he's still a UK resident. He probably
that I'm not sure about, but. Have motorcycle will travel. That's Ewan McGregor's motto. That's right. Liam Neeson, no per diem, no Liam.
As we've heard,
have motorcycle will travel. So, this is such an insightful clip that we just played, because it not only gives us the insight into the actor when he's shooting that Baby Yoda sequence when Luke is walking off with Grogu, and how having the puppet there was so important. Because, I mean, having Baby Yoda on the set, I mean, even here at the Rebel Force Radio studio, I have my little Baby Yoda memorabilia with me, and it's just as real as Baby Yoda on TV, you know?
Look at him. Yeah.
Look at that little guy.
How do you say goodbye to that face?
You can't. And the other point that he brings up is that he had the knowledge of the world reaction to Baby Yoda. Mm-hmm. He understood it was something that people loved, which was a luxury he didn't necessarily have in season 1. So I think that took a little bit of the risk away for Pedro and gave him more of the courage to sell that scene.
Yeah.
To be weeping. Oh, it's with a few times his face has been seen on screen in the entire series. And he and the character Baby Yoda, they never came face to face at all until that very last moment. But if you're not confident in what the reaction to the puppet is going to be, then you might hold back a little. You might feel stupid or foolish, or you might not commit 1,000%.
Right.
Great actors always can, but still, to know now you're shooting season 2, that this is a huge moment and that the audience is also along for the ride.
Yep.
We find it to be so important. So I think it gives a lot more motivation to the actor to bring his top game to the table. And I think Pedro did in that sequence.
I do too. And also interesting that, Ewan McGregor, we knew as he was going into the production of the prequels that he was a Star Wars fan. He was of the Star Wars generation, also had an uncle that was actually in the films, Dennis Lawson, who played Wedge Antilles. And so it wasn't lost on him. And when you see the clips of him on set for episode 1, he's well aware he's in Star Wars. He's excited about being in Star Wars. He's, and then imagine his excitement when he's there on set with Frank Oz and the a Yoda puppet, though that actual puppet left some to be desired, but still it was a Yoda puppet being worked by Frank Oz. And then the word comes out, you get back on set, and then the word comes out that, we're not going to see Yoda puppet. We're not going to have Frank on set. It's going to be CGI. And I've seen, some, photos of this kind of Yoda statue that they would kind of put on set for some of those scenes. There's a great clip of as Christopher Lee's about to shoot his duel with Yoda, and some of the crew put fangs in the Yoda statue, vampire fangs, and he's like, "Oh, George, not you. Oh no, George, not you too." Reference to him being, of course, Dracula in those Hammer films, but. But it was just lifeless. So I can understand, Ewan being. I would be disappointed if someone said you get to be in scenes with Yoda, but Frank Oz isn't going to be there, and there's not going to be a Yoda puppet. It's just going to be, a stick with a blue, globe or something on it, and you just have to follow it with your eyes. That'd be very disappointing.
I liked when an actress like Rena Owen would show up on the set for episode 2, and they would give her a construction hard hat with a picture of Taun We up on top of it. And she'd just be like walking around the set like, are you buying it? I think Pedro has it right. It'd be easier to work with the puppet.
Yeah.
We get a little info about Kenobi from Ewan, who gleefully reports the presence of a particular type of trooper in his series, along with a particular type of native species to the planet Tatooine. Ooh. So here's Ewan McGregor and Pedro, actors on actors from Variety, talking about their perspective series.
I don't think I'd be giving away a secret. Maybe I did 2. I've done.
Be careful.
I know, be so careful. Well, it's all right. There's no secret to when this series is being set, but I had to walk past 2 stormtroopers. I realized I've never acted with a stormtrooper because I did mine were clones, It was the clone army. Yeah. So I'd never seen a stormtrooper. So, and I was walking past in this scene, I turned around and I was like 6 years old again. Like,
doesn't it do something to you? Doesn't it complete
insane? Like, I was like feeling like I was 6 again or something because I was so close to one. I got a fright, you know, so crazy. And then I had to ask someone, were there stormtroopers in my films? Because I don't think I've seen a stormtrooper for real before. And they were like, no, they weren't stormtroopers, they were clones. And Jawas, I had another scene of the little Jawa.
Oh, the little Jawa. I mean, there's nothing that thrills me more than hearing an actor in a Star Wars project be that excited and be able to trace it back to when they were a kid. I mean, that full circle thing, it just, and there's very few projects or franchises that you can be a part of that have that, you know, that have the current crop of the best actors that were the right age when those films were first coming out. I mean, it's a very unique thing right now.
Totally. And, you know, they say it makes them feel like they're 6.
Yeah.
Why do you think we do Rebel Force Radio every week? Why do you think we collect Star Wars? Why do you think we obsess over this stuff?
Right.
You know, welcome to the club, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal. Welcome to the club.
But at the same time, he says, you know, that he has to ask the people on set, like, gosh, there weren't stormtroopers in my movies, were there? You know, I mean, so he's, you know.
Well, how would he know that there were even clone troopers in his movie? They were all CGI. Every clone trooper in the prequels was CGI. Think about that.
Well, I don't know about everyone. Were they?
Everyone.
There was not a practical armored suited.
No. Never.
Really? I never thought about that. I mean, I'm aware that there was a lot of CG used in creating the clone trooper ranks, but I wasn't aware that there wasn't a single clone trooper on set. I mean, even Ahmed Best was wearing, you know, that amphibian skin as Jar Jar on set
in Tunisia.
Yeah,
boy, did he earn.
You're gonna walk around in a rubber chicken suit for the next 6 weeks.
The reason they did that to him is because they thought they were only going to CGI his head.
Right.
But then they went for the whole Megillah and CGI'd the entire character.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think there's only one scene where you see the Ahmed Best Jar Jar suit, and that's when he reaches into the pod racer engine for a wrench.
Yep. That's actually his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
My hand is stomach.
But yeah, they're all CGI because George didn't want to have to pay for all the suits. And he was burned making the original trilogy because the guy that he hired, this boutique plastics guy, sued Lucasfilm for years and years over who owned the image of the Stormtrooper. It was a whole big lawsuit. You can look it up online. He's in London. So George didn't want to go through that again.
But yeah, I remember that. And of course that the escape of those molds and those costumes, of course, they'd show up all over the place, and it did lead to the lawsuit. But it also, you know, kind of gave rise to the costumers and all of that stuff too. So
I don't know if the lawsuit and the costumers move hand in hand on that one. I think this guy, you know, he does sell his own Stormtrooper armor, or has in the past.
Well, I think he was a source for some of the first ones that got out there to circulate that would lead to the costuming clubs and all of that. I think came way of him.
Wow, that's interesting. But yes, no actual physical clone troopers on the set for episode 2. And I'm happy to know that Jawas are coming back in Kenobi.
Yeah.
Because I loved seeing them in The Mandalorian.
Let's speculate real quick. We know that there are off-world Jawas, but is it inevitable that, because we all believe that he's going to go off planet, he's going to go off world, off of Tatooine. So is the smart money that episode 1 or chapter 1 of Kenobi is we're going to find him on Tatooine before he gets set out on his mission, and that's where he's going to run into these Jawas. These aren't going to be red-eyed off-world Jawas. These are going to be like real orange-eyed Tatooine Jawas.
Well, you know, we had some red-eye Jawas on Tatooine in The Mandalorian. We did in the flashback sequence with Cobb Vanth aboard the Jawa Sandcrawler.
Did we talk about that at the time? How weird that was?
Yeah. So it's just like, they call it Off-World Jawa. And they also made a very funny reference to it in a Lego holiday special. Billy D.
That's right.
Remember?
Yeah, that's
Off-World Jawa. Nice.
But yeah,
Jawa.
maybe they're just on Tatooine too, You
Yeah.
have the red eyes, you have the yellow eyes. Just like with people, we have different colored eyes.
Yes.
Jason, we have a lot more in news, but I think we should give a little credit to our friendly sponsor this week, which is Raycon.
That's right. Big thanks to Raycon. Whether it's for work or play, a lot of us are going to be on the move. We're already on the move this summer. So our advice to you here at Rebel Force Radio is take your Raycons with you. Whether you are mowing the lawn, whether you're commuting, once again, back to the day job, it doesn't matter. A pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all of the difference. You get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of those other premium audio brands. Raycons, they look great. They feel even better. A range of cool colors and customizable gel tips included for a very comfortable and close in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. I use my Raycons when I'm in the car a lot, so that that's my time to catch up and have phone call conversations. And you know what? The microphone in the visor or in the rear view mirror or whatever it is, it's just never good enough for me. There's too much noise, and I can't hear who I'm talking to, and they can't hear me. So my Raycons, they fit the bill. So listen up. Raycon is offering 15% off all their products to Rebel Force Radio listeners. Here's what you got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/RFR. That's buyraycon.com/RFR. You'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order. And it's such a good deal, you're going to want to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/RFR. buyraycon.com/RFR. And we thank them so much of their support of us here at Rebel Force Radio.
We love Raycon. They're the best.
Yes, we do. All right, so more rumors when it comes to the world of Disney Plus and the future of Star Wars on that platform. We covered Kenobi. We've covered The Mandalorian Season 3. What about Andor? Andor, we know that the cameras are rolling on that, and there is a new member of the cast, according to an interview that took place. And Jim, I'm not quite sure. I'm seeing Reddit. I'm seeing this interview with noted character actor Stellan Skarsgård. What is the genesis? Why is this showing up on Reddit? Is this some sort of secret interview that shouldn't have been released?
No, not at all. This interview just isn't accessible to us English-speaking folk because it was all done in Swedish. It's from Swedish radio. But we have Star Wars leaks on Reddit, and user Walking Barty can speak Swedish, we hope, because we have a transcript that he has provided us with the interview segment where they discuss Star Wars and Andor. Has it been public knowledge that Stellan had been working on Andor?
I don't think that there's been any major casting announcements for Andor at all. In fact, outside of Alan Tudyk and Diego Luna, I don't believe that there's been any official announcement of anyone. Now, we've speculated, could we see... could we see Forrest Whitaker? Could we see, the actress that played Mon Mothma? Could we see what's the other rebel that he just got his action figure revealed in the last couple of weeks?
Merrick.
Merrick. Yeah. Could we see some of these from Rogue One? But there's been nothing official confirmed as far as I know. For any of them. No. Outside, again, of Diego Luna and Alan Tudyk.
The only thing I know is that it may or may not have the production name of Pilgrim. Isn't that right, Pilgrim? So we have this interview here from Stellan, and he reveals some information about the Rogue One spinoff, Andor. And I thought it would be fun if we just read the transcript from the interview.
Sure.
You know, I don't know if I can do the Swedish voice, but I'll try. Because I want this to be as accurate as possible.
Yes, we do strive for accuracy here in all of our bad impressions and bad accents.
Yes. So Stellan Starsguard, you know, acclaimed actor from Chernobyl, recurring character in some of the Marvel films like Thor and the Avengers, and
great character actor. You know,
great character actor.
I'm throwing his picture up. I'm throwing his picture up on the screen here because I confess I just off the top of my head I heard Stellan Skarsgård. Of course, I know that name, and then I see the picture and I'm like, that guy.
Right.
You see him, and then you go, that guy.
Hey, it's there he is, and he has a good look for Star Wars. He looks pretty menacing. He could be a great villain, or I love a well done Imperial officer.
Yes,
we got from Richard Brake in The Mandalorian. If Stellan Skarsgård, he could definitely pull that off. It'd be great. So his awesome, fantastic career is now just going to be boiled down to my lame Swedish accent as I respond to these interview questions in character as Mr. Starsguard himself. I'm probably not even saying his name right. It's Skarsgård. I say Starsguard.
He's got a couple of kids that are also actors. I believe Skarsgård.
I will be referring to him as only Stellan from this point on. Okay. I'm probably saying that wrong too.
I'm gonna be playing the role of the interviewer.
You're the radio guy.
I'm the radio guy.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's a good character. I like it.
Okay, we're here live in the studio with great noted actor Stellan Skarsgård.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Now, you're in London to film. It's a Disney Plus series. It takes place in the Star Wars universe. That's why you're in London, right? Because everything surrounding this project is very secretive.
Yeah, that's it.
So then you're talking about what you described as a large American blockbuster, right?
Right. It's a huge production.
If I've done my research right, you're doing this one, but there's opportunities for at least 2 more projects with this, right? You've refused to work on Star Wars before. What was different this time?
Well, the first time I talked with them, I didn't even get to read the script. They were so secretive. I didn't know there was swearing in this.
Well, it's Swedish. It's Swedish radio, you know.
Swedish. They were so fucking secretive. Then I just ditched it. But here, there's a good writer, and I've asked for him to write only about 1 scene per episode so I could commute from Stockholm, and overall they honored that promise, but kind of went to hell anyway, so I just ended up sitting around at my hotel.
Good and bad, as we say. And the writer is Tony Gilroy, right? He also wrote the script for Rogue One.
Right, and he did those Bourne Identity films as well. He directed one of them as well.
Now, can you tell us anything about who you're acting with or against?
I have scenes with Diego Luna, primarily, whom I go way back with. He's a wonderful actor. And then I have a juicy scene or 2 with Forrest Whitaker. And then, well, there's a lot of great actors. They have a plethora of them to pick from here in England.
What's your role or character then, Stellan?
Well, you just have to see.
Waiting for him to bring the turkey out and cook it here. All right. But I'm curious, your family is quite large, as is common knowledge. At least 8 children last I counted. Is your family pleased with you doing Star Wars?
Yes, the kids are very happy about it. Okay, that's the end.
All right. All right, so what are the takeaways here? Well, we've got big reveals. We've got names like Forrest Whitaker. So we're gonna see Saw Gerrera. We've got names, of course, like we know that Diego Luna's in it, but that's, of course, we knew that, but he's going to have scenes with Diego Luna. I find it interesting, too, that they wanted this guy so badly in the show that he was able to say, give me just one scene per episode and not to think about it. And the fact that he did, when was this known that he was offered a role in Star Wars before and he's like, it was too secretive, F off?
Well, I don't know if he's necessarily been offered anything, but I think the
he said he turned it down. He said you've refused to work on Star Wars before.
Oh, the radio guy says that.
Yeah, you've refused to work on Star Wars before. What's different this time?
It's too secretive. And I want to apologize to any of our Swedish listeners. We know we're listened to by an international audience, and that's just the best I can do.
Yeah.
I can't do any better. Yeah. Fly me out to Sweden.
It's bad enough that he was wearing the Swiss Miss pigtails. I mean,
yes.
For those that weren't watching the video, you don't realize that.
And underpants. Oh, shoot. This is on. I forgot. Okay.
All right. So Forrest Whitaker, that's a big reveal.
Huge reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Lucasfilm loves Saw Gerrera.
Yes,
there is a Saw Gerrera madness going on in the hallways of Lucasfilm. They want to put Forrest Whitaker in anything and everything, or at least his character, Saw Gerrera, showed up in
most
Bad
recently
Batch.
in Bad Batch. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, let's count it up.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, let's count it up. So, as you were doing, we got we're working backwards. Bad Batch, Saw Gerrera.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Gerrera in Rebels.
Yes, I would put. Yeah, keep going.
Okay,
yeah, that would be Rebels, and then before that would be Jedi Fallen Order. I think.
Okay, Jedi Fallen Order, right? Of course, Clone Wars. The character has his origin in Clone Wars. And then, I mean, obviously, Rogue One, which was his big screen debut. So, I mean, this is a pretty prolific character when you look at, the scope of where he appears and also his role. I know that, a lot of us consider him the original Rebel. He was the original Rebel. Though, Jim, you have raised some objection to that, saying, no, you're forgetting about Fangzar and Bail Organa and Mon Mothma in the Senate. But
delegation of 2000.
The delegation of 2000, but we don't know when they really first started cooking up their plot to overthrow Palpatine. We do know that Saw Gerrera was sort of starting some sort of movement back during the Clone Wars. So he may really be deserving of that mantle of the OR, the original Rebel.
So I look forward to hearing more from Saw Gerrera because we'll definitely be getting more from him. And Ben Mendelsohn is also rumored to be returning for Andor.
Imagine that.
According to thedirect.com, Rogue One Ben Mendelsohn will reprise his role as Orson Krennic in Star Wars Andor. So that's pretty cool. It has not been confirmed.
Right.
And the extent of Mendelsohn's role in the show is currently unknown, just like everything else about the show.
He's great in that film. He stands toe-to-toe with Grand Moff Tarkin. The thing that I'll always remember about Rogue One, and I've said it countless times on the show, is that you get that first scene with Tarkin, and you go, wow, that was cool. That was worth the price of admission. That was nice. I'm sure we won't see him again. And then he keeps showing up, and he keeps showing up, and he keeps showing up, and you're like, damn, this guy is an actual, a co-star in this film. It was just so exciting. So exciting that they went there in such a big way. All right, Tem Morrison. Now, I got to say, when I saw this on the rundown, Jim, I skipped to the end and I see that Tem Morrison was recently in an ad. He was doing an ad for the Polynesian resorts in New Zealand. He was shot in a hot tub, and I'm like, oh, Tem Morrison doing an ad for the Polynesian resorts, and I got to see this. So I go online and I'm looking everywhere to find a photo of it for our Patreon viewers that are watching the video of this. I couldn't find it anywhere. I don't know where you found this ad, But anyway, what do you got? Tim Morrison has actually been talking about Book of Boba Fett recently.
Well, so we might as well just play the commercial. This is, and it's hard to say this is a commercial, but Tim is playing the role of social media influencer. And
he's supposed to just be a guy on the internet.
Yeah. So he shot a video in a hot tub at this resort in New Zealand. And I just thought it was funny because, he does reveal something about the Book of Boba Fett in this little clip.
I've been away for 7 months. Hard out filming the Book of Boba. Cool fight scenes, makeup. The one thing I've really missed is this hidden gem. Here in my hometown, Rotorua. The Polynesian spa. Come on, New Zealand, try something new.
I looked everywhere. I was like, I got to find a photo of, or a screen grab of Tim in this hot tub doing this ad, and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I don't know what kind of sources you have, but I wasn't able to find it.
I get the best sources. They said you gotta see this.
But he also talked to Rotten Tomatoes as well.
He did. I'm scrambling to find the.
Oh no, that's all right.
The damn thing for you to see because I mean, if we're talking about Temuera Morrison in a hot tub, you really need to see this. Do you have access to the notebook online?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to put it right underneath the Tim Morrison spa commercial headline there. You'll see a link you could click on. And if you want, we can just sit here and watch that commercial again together. Because I think it's far more effective to hear the whole thing with.
Is it the very top of the rundown?
No, it's where the story is.
Oh, where the story is. Okay.
Yeah, you probably have to hit refresh, and you'll see right underneath the headline there is a link.
Here we go. All right, I got it right here.
I see you clicking it.
It's on Twitter. All right. Oh, here we go.
Oh, via the Boba Fett fan club. Those would be the guys to get it. And there he is in the hot tub. Oh, he's loving it.
Loving life. Wouldn't we all?
But so, he does reveal that they have stopped shooting. Ming-Na Wen was seen, she posted a picture of herself online as she was prepping.
Was she in a hot tub too?
No, she wasn't, but she was wearing some cute shorts, Star Wars Rebels shorts.
I'm like, if I'm casting a hot tub scene with a character from Book of Boba Fett, it's not going to be, God bless him, it's not going to be Tim Morrison.
Tim looks like he's in great shape in this video too. So, don't worry about him stepping into those action sequences because he looks ripped and ready to go.
Yeah.
And he just sat in the hot tub again. I have it on a loop now in my studio. I have to stop watching it.
You can feel that hot tub. You can feel that water, can't you? It's been a while since you've been in the hot tub. Jimmy Mack, he was, a couple years ago, right before COVID, he was doing the health club. He was doing the workouts, doing the hot tub several times a week.
Yeah, not anymore.
It's been a while.
Not anymore. I haven't gone back.
Oh, you haven't been out of the house in 18 months.
Yeah, but that's not it. Now it's a dispute I'm having with the gym itself.
Oh.
They've let me down really countless numbers of times throughout this pandemic, and so I don't know if I'm going back. I think I'm going to take a break.
Right.
I think I'm going to take a break. So there's Tim, and he had finished shooting the Book of Boba. So at least we know that project is on track.
Yes.
And yes, indeed, he did talk to Rotten Tomatoes about Book of Boba and says, this is a quote, "We're going to see his past and where he's been since The Empire Strikes Back. Somebody pointed out he's been kind of stuck in this one place, and now's the time to actually go back in time, check out his journey, and find out more about him." So my prediction is coming true. There will be Boba Fett flashback sequences in this series. So it'll probably answer the question of how he escaped from the Sarlacc pit and maybe many other things. Could be even flashbacks with Jango Fett.
Yeah.
And young Boba. But Logan's too old to play that character, with Jango.
Well,
but maybe they could de-age Logan. Make him 14 again.
What Daniel has a son, doesn't he? Is he old enough to do it?
No, he's like 3 or 4 now. He's not old enough, little guy. Yeah. But so that's cool. We'll be seeing those flashback sequences.
Yeah.
He also says they brought back Robert Rodriguez to direct a few more. There's some wonderful directors involved. Now, see, that's news to me because I was under the opinion that Rodriguez was directing all 4 episodes.
I thought so too. I thought it was his whole project.
And the 4 episodes thing also, I got to say, is just a rumor. It could be more.
Mm-hmm.
They're in post-production now. Anything could happen.
Right.
And Tem reveals some confidence. He says, we've done some good work. So that's encouraging to hear Tem is pleased. As long as Tem Morrison is sitting in a spa in New Zealand happy with his work, I think we have a lot to look forward to.
I think so too. I couldn't be more excited. And the fact that it's coming out a holiday time, I got to say, I know I always bring it back to little plastic action figures, but I'm just hoping since it's going to hit the holiday time that we can go into the toy aisles at our Target and our Walmarts and see some Book of Boba Fett action figures hanging from the pegs, and they're not all Amazon exclusives or something like that. Jeez, is it too much to ask?
Oh, today I was giving more affirmation that my decision to potentially retire from collecting is the right decision.
Oh, what was today?
Today was a day when Hasbro announced they are releasing Bad Batch 3 3/4-inch action figures, a 4-pack, and not a single character is from the Bad Batch themselves. They are all Trooper repaints.
Come on.
All 4 of them are Trooper repaints. One's a clone trooper painted black to represent the elite clone trooper that we saw in that one episode.
Right.
You have a Captain Rex in there. And then you have 2 other clones.
Well, what era Captain Rex are we talking about?
I'd have to pull up the image. Jedi News would have that information. And so I'm clicking on that, and that's taking too long. So now I'm going to Jedi Temple Archives. Sorry, Jedi News. Happy birthday to James Burns, by the way. He turned 50 this week.
Oh, good for James. Now, did they just throw some soft goods over top of the old Captain Rex figure
Stuff like
and say,
that?
"Hey, this is the scene when he's in the bar and he's in Sid's bar and he's spying on the Bad Batch."
Exactly. They have him wearing a very inaccurate cloak compared to what he was wearing in the episode.
Well, see, now I gotta look this up now.
They just put it over Jedi Temple Archives. It's their top story. And they just put the cloak over what looks like to be a Captain Rex repaint. It's kind of cool.
Oh, here it is.
Hash marks and stuff.
Okay.
And then you have...
of course, it's out of stock already there at Amazon. So if you didn't get it in the first 5 seconds that it was offered, you're not going to get it. So here it is.
So they have these characters here, and they do look... I mean, they're fine characters. You have Clone Captain Rex, Braca. You have Clone Captain Ballast, whoever the hell that is. You have Clone Captain Gray, whoever the hell that is. And Elite Squad Trooper, who is that shadow.
Why would they put out a Bad Batch 4-pack and have no one from the Bad Batch?
What? It's ridiculous. And they have it here in this packaging, and then you open up the packaging, and each figure is individually carded. New head sculpts for the 3 troopers.
I know I'm being super picky, but see the way that they have incorporated the classic double racetrack Star Wars logo with the Bad Batch, which I love that as part of the vintage collection, the way they've done that. But it looks kind of stubby with Bad Batch because they're such short words. Doesn't it look kind of stubby?
Yeah, maybe they should have tightened it up a little bit. You know, like when you make a sandwich, it's really big and bulky and you kind of press down on it a little bit to make it a little more workable. But
I might have put Bad Batch all on one line so you can get that to spread out a little bit. But there's the elite squad trooper. You know,
the last line of action figures that was released for the 3 3/4 inch line was Gaming Greats, which was a line that featured 3 trooper repaints and a battle droid. I mean, they just are phoning it in. They don't want to do anything to develop new tooling for these action figures. They keep releasing the same old crap over and over again with different paint jobs. And these paint jobs are really good. And you want to know what a sick junkie I am about collecting these figures? When you said that they're sold out, I got pissed off. I got pissed off because I didn't order them when they were available. And now I want them more than anything in the world. I have to have these action figures. You guys just went on the entire emotional journey with me.
So he starts the segment, folks, is talking about how disappointed he is in this box set. We go through it, literally kind of taking it apart piece by piece. And at the end, he's like, oh, I really want it.
Gotta have it now.
I gotta have it.
Now I gotta have it.
Oh,
so,
man.
Yeah. The whole range of emotions. You guys went on the whole journey with me. And it's never pretty. It really is never pretty. Meanwhile, I'm buried under pounds and pounds of plastic. I'm going insane. And I'm loving it.
So look at these guys.
All right. Well, if anyone ordered extra ones and you don't want it, hit me up.
Oh, well, you know, the whole listening audience just rolls out the red carpet anytime Jimmy Mack needs something to fill in his collection.
Yeah.
Let Jason Swank need something for his collection, and it's just D. Bradley Baker's cricket sounds.
We have to isolate that.
Yeah, we do need that.
We have our own recordings of D doing that, and it's always a hoot when you're like in a room with him and there's just a moment of awkward silence, and then you'll hear him doing that cricket sound from the back of the room. I've been in that room a few times. So Tim Morrison, he's at a spa. He's done with Book of Boba Fett. He feels good about it. Robert Rodriguez and a couple other directors are working on it. And we're going to have flashbacks, Boba Fett flashbacks. I cannot wait.
All right. You want to take a timeout and thank our good friends and supporters at Patreon? They give us so much here and provide so much to us at Rebel Force Radio.
Yeah, we got a lot going on Patreon all the time. I mean, releases, posts from us pretty much daily now. We have the RFR Q&A, which has been a weekly show featuring an RFR VIP from Patreon. How do you become an RFR VIP? Join the RFR VIP tier, and then you become eligible to host a show with me based on the topic of your choice. We always talk about Star Wars. Except one time when me and a listener, Brian Bailey, we went through all my concert tickets. That was fun. But we've had recent episodes in June. RFR Q&A number 68, I Am Your Father. That's where me and RFR VIP Mike Aragon, we dig deep into the father-son relationships in Star Wars. And it's a great Father's Day primer. That was the reason why Mike wanted to do it this month, is because it's a good Star Wars Father's Day primer, if you ask me. We have Father's Day coming up this weekend, too. Happy Father's Day to all the great Star Wars dads out there in the listening audience. We hear from you guys all the time. We love you very much. You share your stories about raising your kids with Star Wars, and it's always fun to compare notes. So that's what me and Jason do, and if you're a Star Wars dad, you're a great dad.
That's right.
Bonnie Peace interview that we also released on YouTube. She rarely does interviews, and I got a chat with her a little while back about how she got the gig as Beru and shooting in Tunisia and working with George Lucas, and of particular interest to Star Wars fans in the year 2021 is the knowledge that Bonnie Peace is going to be returning to Star Wars. She's going to be playing young Beru in the Kenobi series as well. So get to know her a little bit and listen to that interview. We have Star Wars Oxygen dropping. This is the only place you can now get Star Wars Oxygen, and that is RFR on Patreon. That's our acclaimed look at the Star Wars soundtracks, film by film. We are still working our way through Empire Strikes Back. But several episodes are now available only on Patreon. Cool video that I shot with Matthew Wood at Skywalker Ranch a little while back when Star Wars The Phantom Menace 3D dropped. Me and Matt Wood voicing battle droids at Skywalker Sound. And you actually you got to see me voice a battle droid and then actually hear what I sound like as a battle droid too. It's a lot of fun. And you can see that video on YouTube as well. If you're not on Patreon, you got to get on Patreon. Our goal is to reach 1,000 supporters by the end of this summer. We're currently sitting on like 933 or something. So help us out, be part of the gang. And it's just a great community over there. We have excerpts from the Filoni Files popping up all the time. RFR Q&A with Matthew Rooney, number 69, where we go through the Jango Fett Open Seasons comic series from 2002, and we discuss the past, present, and future of the ever-changing world of the Mandalorians. RFR early bird releases. Our audience on Patreon always get the show first, whether it be by hours or even days. Clone Wars Declassified, Remastered, dropping all the time. We just put out episode 103. And we're working our way through the Clone Wars rewatch. Of course, you got easy, quick links to Bad Batch after shows and our latest Q&A. What's Up with Luke, where me and RFR VIP Dustin Bagley discuss how Luke could evolve as he appears in future Star Wars stories throughout the timeline. And Dustin has things he likes about the sequels. I have things I like about the sequels. And we discuss, and we also discuss what we don't like. So that's a lot of fun. We talk about Star Wars conventions, and Dustin brings up some memories from the early days of our podcasts, and even early days from the old show, when you and Pete Nadel were recruiting listeners to come up with closing music for the show.
Oh, yeah.
So Dustin called in and he hummed Yoda's theme. And Dustin, he recreates that moment for us on RFR Q&A. You got it.
I remember that. Oh, my gosh.
That's what's going on. There's just so much going on. The conversation at Patreon's great.
Yeah.
And
I love that it spans all those years. By the way, for anyone who's curious about Pete, I just saw Pete a couple nights ago, so he's doing well and the family's doing well, and we walked around a community fair, the city fair together the other night, and ate crappy food, good food, but crappy food, and watched the kids play together. So all very good. And yes, Patreon is we're constantly hearing from listeners who are so happy that they went ahead and paid the money, and they're getting more Rebel Force Radio content all the time. And Jimmy Mac is constantly putting out more and more stuff. I even have done one Q&A. We've got another one that we're trying to schedule right now. This was a little off track, I should say, where I went ahead and did a Q&A where we talked about the original cast Star Trek films, and we only got through Treks 1 through 3 on the first go. We're going to do Treks 4 through 6 on the next round, and that was a lot of fun. So
they're always fun.
Yeah.
And it's great that we get to interact with our listening audience of the greatest Star Wars fans on the planet and get to know them and develop friendships with them. And it's really interactive. So it's, to me, RFR on Patreon is all about the listeners. 100% you guys in the audience listening to the show. That I just devote that entire thing to you guys. And we're always trying to come up with new things to do with Patreon and new perks we can give you guys. Hangouts will be coming back soon with the Babu Freaks at the Galloping Ghost and so much more. So that's patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. And remember, we want to get to 1,000 before the summer is over. So help us out.
Rebel Force Radio.
We've already made that Star Wars reference.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars parody.
All right. Back with the primetime dramas, the primetime soap operas. Jimmy Mac bringing us some Star Wars pop culture from A Million Little Things.
Do you know this show?
Well, I just know that I have friends at work that talk about it.
Oh yeah, it is one of those types of shows. It's an ABC drama.
Yeah,
it's been running now for I think 4 seasons, and RFR television correspondent reporter Wendy Snyder, she's hooked on things like shows like this.
Yeah,
the dramas, the family dramas. With
yes,
slow, sad piano playing in every scene. And it's the way they shoot the way. Yeah, the way they shoot these shows, everything's in shadow, and it looks like there's some sort of filter over the camera, dulling out all the colors. It's just like, wow, not my cup of tea, but Wendy loves it. And she's been hooked on this show. She binged the whole thing in a matter of days this week and came at me with some information about Star Wars stuff happening in an episode of this show. To get people caught up, it's here's the description. The premise of it, it's set in Boston. It's a circle of tight-knit friends who are shocked after a member of the group unexpectedly dies by suicide. The friends realize, real uplifting, real warm and fuzzy stuff right out of the gate. Wendy loves it. What can I say?
Yeah.
The friends realize they need to start finally living life as they cope with their loss. The title is a reference to the saying, friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. Okay, I'm not familiar with the saying, but, my only friend is Swank, and we don't do anything for each other, so... I guess it wouldn't come with that. That saying would never come up in conversation with me and Jason.
One little thing. That's the name of our show.
And so it's one of those ensemble family dramas, but I love it when This Is Us. It's This Is Us-esque.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, This Is Us. Yeah. Exactly.
And This Is Us hasn't been shy with their Star Wars references over the years, and they've done some good ones. And so now A Million Little Things is picking up that baton and running with it. Season 3, Episode 9, the episode title, The Lost Sheep. And I can't really set this up more than just telling you this is a lady and an older kid, probably 18 or 19, maybe in his early 20s. And they're just sitting at the table having a conversation like we would have here on Rebel Force Radio.
No, I'm only going to say this once, and then we're never discussing it again. Donald Glover is not Lando.
Except he literally is.
He's a Lando, but he is not the Lando. That's Billy D.
He's the one from Empire Strikes Back, right? I've seen parts of it.
Parts of it? What? Are you kidding me?
That's exactly my reaction when people tell me, when they say, I've seen parts of Star Wars.
Yeah. But they all have very firm opinions. Very educated, firm opinions about Star Wars. And they will call us out, the ones who've been here for 45 years, or however old. How old is Star Wars this year? 44 years.
But here's a question. Is this the first Star Wars in pop culture reference that we have to the Solo film?
No, The Simpsons made a joke about how their toys don't sell. For Solo.
Did they
that
really?
I remember. Yeah. And Donald Glover did do a bit on SNL as Lando.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
so
that
there were
would definitely count as well.
Okay.
But as far as just basic dialogue in a scripted TV drama, I don't recall. Yeah. And I also have to say, hell yeah, sister. Hell yeah. Say it loud. Say it proud. I don't know who you are, what the name of your character is, but you're my favorite on the show.
Yeah, he's a Lando, not the Lando.
So they go on and they start talking about all the dramatic things happening,
all the little things,
dramatic lives, because it is a drama, and
they never let you forget that throughout each episode.
No, the sad piano will constantly follow you wherever you go. What's that moving in the shadows? Ding, dong, ding, ding, dong, ding, dong. A Million Little Things.
Yeah.
Number 2. So when they get to the resolution of what they're going to do to resolve their drama, that same lady who stood up for the pride of Billy D. Williams. She's flying the Lando flag, and she also does a Yoda impersonation that is almost as good as Wendy Snyder's.
Oh.
So you think he can really help her?
Well, you gotta try.
No. Do or do not. There is no try.
Even throwing in the Tom Kane at the end, which is a little more Tom Kane than it is Frank Oz. But
for sure,
you know,
yeah,
that was
that one.
Yeah, Tom was always about the little punctuated, you know, yes, yes.
Your Yoda voice is on fire tonight. I'm impressed and jealous.
Oh, man. So A Million Little Things, bringing in the Star Wars in pop culture love this week. Speaking of A Million Little Things, there's a million little references that Jimmy Mack peppers throughout all of the incredible intros and outros and bumpers and all of the audio assets. And I love the fact that we finally got an email from a listener that is calling attention to it, because I don't think that there's enough attention being brought to all of that little audio magic that Jim brings with each and every episode. So I'm thrilled that Ben from Canada wrote to us saying, Chut, guys, I've been a listener since 2018 and Patreon member since 2019. We appreciate that. I have a request. I would love to hear a full breakdown of the RFR show theme, news and messages, segues, etc. Every week I find myself asking, is that Wendy in the intro? Where does I've seen Star Wars 500 times actually come from? What movie shows are not represented in the borrowed audio clips? When will Jimmy Mack add a McClunky? I've been listening for 3 years, and many listeners have found you in the last couple years in the wake of shows like Mandalorian, Bad Batch. So true. So I assume others might be as curious as myself. Thanks for all you do for Star Wars fans around the globe. So, Jim, people have been listening to these bumpers and these intros and these outros for over a decade. So it's time to break them down, take them to the RFR Sound Lab, and let's deconstruct them and let everyone know where these various clips and things. I confess, some of them I don't even know where they came from.
I confess, some of them I didn't know. I had to do research today. I had to track down the origins of some of this material, and I'm happy to announce I was able to do that, because there are a lot of things within the show intro that have become so commonplace, borderline iconic to many fans' fandom. And the whole show open begins with a bit from SNL. It's the Black Eyed Peas Star Wars audition featuring Kenan Thompson, but we have a version that was remixed by RFR loyal listener DJ Sequest. And so we use the DJ Sequest version. But if you've never seen the SNL bit, it was just a really brief shot of what was supposed to be the Black Eyed Peas taking one of their songs and putting a Star Wars spin on it. So here is the actual audio from Saturday Night Live.
The Black Eyed Peas as the Cantina Band.
Let's get it Star Wars! Let's get it Star Wars in here! Let's get it Star Wars!
Easy enough. DJ Mike put some cool beats underneath it, and that's what we use at the beginning of each show. Followed by Darth Vader from Jedi, the line about the small rebel force. And when I first came up with the name Rebel Force Radio, it was to replace something else that was at the top of my list at the time, which was Rebel Base Radio. Okay, I thought Rebel Base Radio, that sounds Star Warsy enough. But then I slipped while I was hanging a cuckoo clock over my toilet. I hit my head on the toilet, and the name Rebel Force Radio came to me. So why do you laugh? I hit my head on the toilet.
It rings a distant bell. I've heard that story before.
We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
Liam Neeson was right about you. So I was so happy then after I recovered, I was laying there face down on the bathroom floor for about 5 hours. But when I recovered, I Googled Rebel Force quote from Star Wars, and I discovered that Darth Vader did indeed refer to the Rebel Force when he was talking to the Emperor in Return of the Jedi.
A small rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
There it is.
So the significance of that placement within the theme at the beginning of the show open, we are supposed to be the small rebel force.
Yes.
And we land on Endor. That's where our studios are. Not exactly state-of-the-art studios either. Thanks, Ewoks. But I've worked in radio stations that were much worse, I have to admit.
Oh, yeah.
With older technology.
Hey, some twine and rocks. That's an improvement over some of the outhouses that I've been in radio.
In my day. So then, here's where the fun begins. Anakin Skywalker from Rats, Revenge of the Sith.
This is where the fun begins.
Mm-hmm. And of course, that line, that's one of those lines like, I have a bad feeling about this, that shows up ever since that film. It has shown up in Clone Wars and in Rebels and in various other incarnations. This is where the fun begins.
Doesn't Han say it in A New Hope when they're being pulled in by the tractor beam?
That's right. He does. So it has its origins in A New Hope. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I wonder why, even to this day, I use Anakin instead of Han. Because Anakin's just like, here's where the fun begins.
This is where the fun begins.
Oh, this is where the fun begins. begins. It doesn't sound like he's having any fun at all.
I totally forgot that's got an OT origin. This is where the fun begins.
That's followed by Deep Voice Guy saying the famous intro to Star Wars, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Deep Voice Guy.
Yeah, he's the guy with the cigar and bourbon before he turns that microphone on. We were talking about him earlier in the show. But that is from
time ago.
That's from a Star Wars VHS radio spot. When the VHS tapes first came out in 1995, the THX versions, they sent out a bunch of radio commercials to promote it to radio stations. So I recorded that commercial, and that's where I took that audio from. I didn't save the rest of the commercial. I wish I did. But I might have it somewhere. That's followed by my voiceover, where I say, this is Rebel Force Radio. Then it goes into Wendy's voiceover.
Rebel Force Radio, your source for the Force.
Right on. That's Wendy Snyder. So, yes, Ben from Canada was absolutely correct. That is Wendy in the intro. And she was really, it was kind of cute. She was actually really touched by the fact that I asked her to do that stuff. But she's got the best voice around. So, I mean, I might as well take advantage of her, for crying out loud. She sounds perfect. So here's where we get into some classics. Tracy Morgan is the guy who says, I've seen Star Wars 500 times. And he said it on the 609th episode of Saturday Night Live, which aired on November 11th, 2006. 11/11/06. The episode was hosted by Alec Baldwin, and musical guest was Christina Aguilera. Tina Fey and Tracy Morgan joined Alec on stage for his monologue. Because remember, at the time, I think they were still doing, they definitely were doing 30 Rock, in the same building that SNL is shot.
Rockefeller Center.
And wasn't the Saturday Night Live producer also the producer
Lorne
of 30
Michaels
Rock?
was one of the
Yes.
was the co-producer,
So,
yes.
It was practically like they never left their old gig. So they showed up, and Tina and Tracy were with Alec during the monologue when Baldwin decided to reveal their credentials as acting superstars.
Look at this collection of talent, I ask you. What more do you want from a TV show? You want experience? You want experience? I've appeared in over 40 major motion pictures.
I wrote Mean Girls.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
How about Credentials. I was nominated for an Oscar.
I have an Emmy.
I have seen Star Wars 500 times.
How about colleagues? I've worked with Sir Anthony Hopkins, Annette Bening, and Jack Nicholson.
I have worked with Alec Baldwin and Tracy Morgan.
I'm personal friends with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So there you have it. 3 of the biggest talents working today. 1,
2,
3,
4.
What?
I'm 2 and 4. Star Wars.
I love Tracy. Star Wars. Oh, he's so funny. And yeah, so that's a lot of fun, and people love that clip. Sam Witwer loved that clip. In this outtake from the show, you'll hear his passion for that clip.
Excellent. I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
There you go. The goofy crap that goes on before we actually start the show. That's Sam. And another really well-known clip is the guy yelling Star Wars #1.
That's the one I've been curious about. I want to know where that's from.
During the prequel era, I was recording everything on VHS tapes. And by everything, I mean the major networks, the news channels, all the news magazine shows like Entertainment Tonight, Extra, all the late night talk shows. And I was doing it so I could get sound to use on the radio, just like I get sound to use on Rebel Force radio. But I had just all this like fleet of VCRs. That was my responsibility. Whenever I saw any Star Wars coverage, I would dub it to a master tape that I kept in my studio. It was labeled Star Wars. And so, yeah, anytime I would see something Star Wars, I would say to myself, here's where the fun begins. And I would then dub it.
This is where the fun begins.
This is where the fun begins. And I would dub it. And so I recorded a lot of news footage from the time. Sooner or later, this stuff is going to be posted by me onto YouTube. It's a lot of work. And I need to digitize a lot of it too.
Yeah.
I had done that on CDRs, DVDRs.
Oh.
But some of them are, the playback's a little dicey on some of them. I kept all of the original VHS tapes though. So I always have access to them. And this is a guy who rolled past a news crew following the first screening of The Phantom Menace on opening night at one of those famous theaters in LA, in Hollywood. So all the people are streaming out of the movie, and they stand there with a camera, and people come up as they're walking by. Say, what did you think of the movie? And these people react. And they make a little montage out of it, and they show it on the nightly news. I can't tell you which news outlet this comes from, but today I found the clip. I was surprised I could find it. But I found the clip where Star Wars #1 dude made his first appearance. This is episode 1 opening night news coverage.
See it 5 times, 10 times. Very good movie. Better than the first one, maybe.
The movie was amazing. By George, you've done it again. It was wonderful.
The best thing about the movie was the last part, the action series. That was the best part. Were you disappointed in any part? No way disappointed. Critics are wrong. Star Wars #1.
There he is.
That's it. You know,
that's him.
There's this kind of history that's been written or maybe even rewritten about episode 1. It was like, it came out and everybody hated it. It was the biggest movie of the year. I mean, what do you mean everybody hated it? I don't remember that being the case at all. I do remember Jar Jar being sort of divisive. But I don't remember people universally hating it. I remember people lining up around the block to see it. I remember it it was so popular it got re-released. I think later in the fall after
Christmas.
Christmas, that's right.
Yeah.
Christmas. I mean, when's the last time you saw a movie get re-released back into the theaters the year it came out? So there's a lot of phony memories of episode 1. And here it is. You got this group. They're coming out. They just saw the movie. Better than the first one. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. But by George, he did it again. You know, you weren't. I love that question. You weren't disappointed?
Yeah.
Talk about loading the question.
Right. But he says no way. Our friend says no way, and then he throws the critics under the bus. Critics are wrong.
Yeah,
I love this guy. If this guy is listening to Rebel Force Radio, will you get a hold of us?
Star Wars number one guy.
You're the Star Wars number one guy, and I'm not just gonna put anyone on the air. I'm gonna put you through a thorough vetting process. And I'll have you saying Star Wars number one so many times your face will turn blue. But I'll have to verify your identity. And if I decide you are the guy, then you got to come on the show and tell us about your memories about seeing Star Wars: The Phantom Menace opening night, and then getting what did Ray Park always used to joke around about us? He'd always go, "Oh, this is an ambush interview." He'd always say that every time. Every time. It's like he'd come up to us in the hotel. He's like, "Oh, I really want to talk to you guys. Could you come by my table? Come by my table." It's like, "Sure, yeah, we'll be there, Ray. No problem. We love you, Ray." And then we go to Ray's table, and he'd be like, "Oh, it's an ambush."
This is so unexpected.
He's just playing around.
Yeah.
But you never know with Ray.
Yeah,
you never know. So then we get into our friend Admiral Mahdi with his famous line.
Richard Le Parmentier.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Yes. Now, I have to come clear with you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a purpose for the placement of that particular line in our show open. Mm-hmm. And it's something I promised myself I'd do going back to 2002. And the very first time I met Richard Le Parmentier, the actor, the late, great Richard Le Parmentier, who played Admiral Mahdi in the original Star Wars. The first time I met him, it was just prior to the gates at Star Wars Celebration 2 opening up. Billy Mack and I had media credentials because I was working in radio and Billy was my tech support. So we were there talking to actors as they flooded into the autograph hall. And whether or not we had permission to do this, that's neither here nor there.
Details.
Those are just messy, sticky details. We don't need to get into that. But there we were, and everyone was talking to us. I was talking to Bib Fortuna, for crying out loud.
Michael Carter.
I was talking to Admiral Ozzel. And so all they were doing, we weren't really interviewing them. I did a little shtick with Warwick Davis, but for the most part, we were just getting celebrity IDs for the radio station.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be really good to pepper that throughout all the day parts when The Phantom Menace hit the theaters.
Right.
I thought that would just be fun. Put a Star Wars vibe on my radio station, which was 105.9 WCKG, Chicago. So that's all we were searching for. When we approached Richard to get him to give us an ID, which everyone gladly was doing, Richard reacted. He told us no. And we're like, oh, okay. And then we turned around and started to walk away. And as we're walking away, we heard him say something. And it was, "Are you effing mad?" And me and Billy looked at each other like, he's talking to us. So I slowly turn around, and as I'm saying, "Excuse me," I hit record on my microphone. And he repeats himself and explains to us why he's mad at us.
So f***ing mad.
Just an ID.
You know what? It's a station ID.
Yeah, just a station ID. 3 lines.
Yeah, you know what? I cannot do that. Because my line, this is now the most powerful station, battle station, is being used as a slug line.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes, and you know what? And guess who hasn't been paid?
We don't really That's disrespectful.
Exactly. So I can't do it.
Oh, so disrespectful. Is that you or Bill that goes, "Oh, that's so disrespectful"?
I'm the disrespectful, and then Billy goes, "Well, we didn't even think about that."
Is Bill the one that also says it's just a station ID?
Yeah. He's gonna negotiate with Admiral Mahdi before Mahdi's had his cup of coffee.
Oh, no!
Listen, it's just a station ID, okay, pal?
Relax.
And I'm like, Like, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Billy goes, I didn't even think about that. But I mean, think about how many radio stations across the country have used that line. This station is the most powerful weapon in the universe.
Right.
That's used cross country, coast to coast, by every top 40, by every classic rock, by every station. They include it in their little promos. So I get it. I get it. All right. He doesn't, he's mad at radio.
He is.
All radio. Anybody having, yes.
When we heard this, we started a campaign because we thought he was so upset, that maybe fans should go and reimburse him for all of the lost royalties for that line.
Right.
So
Despite
we started.
The fact
we started.
He didn't write the line.
Right.
He didn't create the film.
No.
Showed up for a couple of days over there at Elstree Studios, got a paycheck, and went out to the pub.
Right.
But,
right. So
yes.
we had fans showing up offering him nickels because we thought that would be appropriate. Where's my nickel? And
yes,
so,
that was a Pete Nadal-ism. So where's my nickel? So I actually did meet Richard a couple more times after that. The black cloud hovered over me the second time I met him.
Oh,
which was at Star Wars Celebration 3. Also in Indianapolis.
He wasn't.
No, it was at 4. It was at 4 in L.A.
He wasn't real warm with you at that time?
He was fine. He had a few minutes, but I was using this mini disc deck that it just like ran out battery or disc. One of the two. Something ran out of something, and I was standing there talking to the guy, realizing I wasn't recording it. And I just felt like an a-hole. But then the second time I met him, I was a little more prepared. And I had fresh batteries and a clean disc for an interview to record. Same gear we use now. And I got to talk to Richard a few years later in Chicago at a convention. And I finally got to the bottom of this whole where's my nickel, all that controversy. It all got resolved when I caught up with Richard LaParmenter.
I think it was in 2002. I was working for CBS Radio, and I approached you at Star Wars Celebration in Indianapolis.
Yes.
And I asked you for an interview, and it was very early in the morning. And you looked at me and said, "Are you effing mad?" I don't think you had your coffee yet.
No. I never do interviews before 2 or 3 o'clock. Somebody came in yesterday when I arrived here, and I said, "I'm sorry, can you come back 4 or 5? Fine, I'll be happy then." I just got off of a really early flight.
Yeah.
And it was,
Well, you know when you're ready to talk.
Absolutely.
But
Yes.
the thing is that you did go on to tell me that you didn't want to talk to radio because American radio uses your infamous line.
I don't do trails for stations and things, mainly because of that, because they actually have sampled my line.
Right.
Which they're not allowed to do, basically.
Well, yeah, we find that to be disrespectful. So we put the call out to Star Wars fans everywhere. We figure there are so many Star Wars fans out there that if each one just donated a nickel to you, that would make up for any lost funds that you might have incurred over the years.
Well, that would be very kind, but it's not up to the fans, is it?
But allow me.
It's up to the is it Metro Media that owns that chain of stations?
Which one?
I think it's Metro Media
that owns
that. It's a string of classic rock stations.
Oh, okay, and they always use that line.
No, I think they pulled it now.
Oh, they did.
I haven't heard it for a long time. So I think maybe they did hear that I was not happy or something.
Well, to make up for the lost funds, I'd like to get it started off. This is a nickel that I want to give you. And that is just a sign of respect for your fine work.
I'll get it mounted.
Star Wars and New Hope. This represents Star Wars fans everywhere that appreciate your work.
Oh, thank you.
One solid American nickel right there. 5 cents. Don't spend it all in one place.
That is such a great trip down memory lane. I remember that. That was a lot of fun. And he was
laughing.
Yeah, right. And he was getting hit with nickels left and right. Well, not literally hit, but he was getting.
People were throwing, from like their hotel balconies, 5 stories up. They were just throwing nickels at the poor guy. But may he rest in peace. He was a good sport.
Yes.
And he was definitely playing along. I remember the sense of relief that washed over me when he started laughing. I was like, oh, thank God he's getting it.
Yeah.
Because if catch him in a bad mood, he might punch you out. Because
Who knows?
He was after those Metro Media radio stations like a black bear. and
well, but they heard that he was upset, so therefore they dropped it apparently.
But little does he know, he was doing an interview with a show that uses his line each and every week.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty much the entire thing. I mean, we have a few other clips.
There's one more.
Yeah, it's just the Vader.
Yep.
The Vader.
And this is iconic.
We would be honored if you would join us.
And I'll add that. So there was a time early in the show, pre-Jimmy Mac.
Yes.
That it was really just up to me and Pete. And Pete wasn't so much into the sort of trying to mix up. And I have been such a fan my whole life of talk radio. And so I made my own little vain attempts to try and give it that flavor. And I think it was those attempts then that Jim heard and was like, I hear what they're trying to do. I get it. I think, and of course he, tightened the screws and then introduced a whole new world to us. But I think that's the one piece, that's one element that still survives from the original introduction to the podcast there back in the first day was, we would be honored if you would join us.
That had to stay. It was just a perfect out. And with the other things too, I used your original production as the template for the other things too, like the headline news intro.
Oh yeah, sure.
That was created by you. That that's good news. All that news stuff that was all put together by you. I just put some zips and zaps underneath it, and I wanted to maintain the integrity of your original production because I enjoyed it as a listener.
Yeah.
So that's the rundown of the entire show open. There's a few music loops in there.
Mm-hmm.
One is from a production that I made, and then another one is a loop I made from the Jedi Rocks from the soundtrack. And so that's.
I got a question. I want to go back real quick to the Le Parmentier thing because you've worked in radio your whole life. Is he right that that's not legal to use? I would think that radio stations, they sample clips and drops from movies and TV shows all the time. I can't imagine that there could be legal, but I am curious. Is it?
There might be. It's property of the IP. Mm-hmm. It's intellectual property, mm-hmm. and a C&D could be sent. But nobody enforces this stuff. It's looked at as promotion. And the only guy who was enforcing it was Richard LaParmentier. He made it his life's mission to
because the music
go to Metro.
Music
he was showing up at these Metro Media radio stations across the country, demanding to see the production director.
But the music is covered under your ASCAP and BMI licenses, but there's nothing mm-hmm. equivalent when it comes to movie clips or TV clips or anything like that. So,
but so much is in circulation
mm-hmm.
via things like electronic press kits and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, so much has been given to media over the years for the purpose of placing it on the air.
Yeah,
that you'd have to have a really long checklist to know what's been approved and what hasn't. So nobody's going to do all that detective work, at least not now. Maybe someday they'll come up with the technology to figure it all out, like YouTube does with its music algorithms.
Oh,
and
yeah.
things like that. But I find it very unlikely. I do. So I just want to say thank you to our emailer and, the great Ben from Canada. And, I thought it was really interesting to go.
That was fun.
And like you said, Jason, take my own stuff and put it through the RFR Sound Lab. I'd also like to dedicate this entire breakdown to Ashley on Twitter at the Ashley Bass, or is it Bass? I don't know. But she put up 2 tweets this week. One said, me with a mouthful of fries saying the Force will be with you always, because I have to say it with the close of each Rebel Force Radio podcast. And then here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, though. One day, a man will fall in love with me purely based off of listening to me say the entire opening of the Rebel Force Radio podcast.
Oh. You got 2 men right here that are in love with you for being able to do that. I'll say.
I just think that's so cool that people are reciting the lines along with the production piece. That's awesome. I never thought it would be that interactive. But I get it, because there's a commercial here in Chicago for St. Xavier University, and they show it constantly during White Sox games. And right in the middle of it, there's a girl with purple hair walking across the campus, and she's holding a selfie stick, and she's shooting a video, and she says, "Hello, friends, it's Colleen, and welcome to St. Xavier." And every time she says that, I say it along with her. It drives my family nuts.
Hello, friends, it's Colleen, and welcome to St. Xavier.
I love it. Well, that's going to do it. That'll wrap things up for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. And if you are a Patreon supporter, thank you for that. Big thanks to our friends at Raycon. Don't forget, buyraycon.com/RFR. Save 15% off. Get a pair and a spare. Don't forget about Patreon. We talked a lot about it earlier, but it's the only place where you can find the weekly full show video. So the podcast you're listening to right now, in its entirety, and sometimes in its entirety plus, because you get some of the outtakes that you don't hear on the published podcast. Also, the exclusive podcasts, like Jimmy mentioned, RFR Comlink, the Q&A, Babu Freaks, Clone Wars Declassified Remastered, so much more. Rebel Force Radio on Patreon is the only place that you can hear the acclaimed Star Wars Oxygen podcast, the music of John Williams, where they analyze the soundtracks of the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, The Force Awakens, Rogue One. And if you're a watcher and listener of the Bad Batch After Show, or any of our after shows, Mandalorian after shows, by being a Patreon member, it is a great way to jump to the head of the queue when you identify yourself to our call screener as being a Patreon member. We try to get you on as quickly as possible. Speaking of Bad Batch After Show, just want to mention this week, the Bad Batch After Show will be live on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which I know our friends in the UK love that. And we love to be able to provide. In fact, we had a caller from Australia last week because we were on at a time that made a lot of sense. There's from St. There she is, Colleen.
It's Colleen from St. Xavier. That's her with the purple hair. Hello, friends. It's Colleen, and welcome to St. Xavier. I say it every time that commercial's on.
Don't forget, check that out over at patreon.com/Rebel Force. Not Colleen from St. Xavier. Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. Rebel Force Radio on YouTube. My gosh, what a incredible repository it has become for highlights from shows. I mean, you talk about breaking down the Richard LaParmentier and all of that. So if you're interested in not just the current stuff going on at Rebel Force Radio, but the past as well, Rebel Force Radio on YouTube is a great place. Plus, as we've said,
I'll put that full Richard LaParmentier interview that we just heard that clip from. I'll put that on YouTube soon. Yes.
Yeah, that because the whole interview is fun. It's great. So as we said, from classic interviews, parodies, and bits, and of course the latest live streams like the Bad Batch After Show. Check that out. That's all on YouTube. Costs you nothing to subscribe. We want to hold on to our position of 10,000 subscribers and continue to grow. We are the #1 Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. And just a small percentage of you are actually following us on YouTube. So please check us out there over on YouTube. We'd love to have you subscribe today. If you'd like to talk to us in between shows, the voicemail and email lines are always open. The email address show@rebelforceradio.com, as well as the voicemail line 708-320-1737. Leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. We're all across the social media, from Facebook to Instagram, Twitter, you name it. And speaking of Facebook, the official Rebel Force Radio Facebook group can be found there. Just answer a few questions. You'll be in the club, and you can post and chat with your fellow Star Wars fans who also happen to listen to this podcast. The official website, rebelforceradio.com. And please keep listening. You can find us anywhere you can find quality podcasts, even less than quality podcasts. We're streaming 24/7 at Apple Podcasts, WGN Plus, Jedi News, iHeart, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, you name it. Rebel Force Radio is there on your podcatcher of choice. That'll do it. We'll see you next time. Thank you all so much. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
And I'm Colleen from St. Xavier University.
And remember,
The Force will be with you, always.